I'm gonna roll this 20-sided die to see how great the viewership is gonna be for this movie review. Come on, natural 20, come on, natural 20. Here we go. 1! Come on! I am not kidding you. It rolled a frickin' 1. Come on. That's been this day in a nutshell. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves is released today in 2023 and is directed by Jonathan Goldstein, who has also directed such films like Vacation and Game Night. And this film is starring the ever-so-dashing Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, REGE-JEAN Page, Justice Smith, Sophia Lillis, and Hugh Grant. Edgin Darvis and Holga Kilgore have recently escaped from captivity and is making their way back to their home where Edgin can reunite with his daughter. However, their friend Forge, who was overseeing his daughter while they were in captivity, has now become a greedy lord and tries to capture both of them to reap the bounty. So now Edgin and Olga are on the run again in hopes of finding a way to infiltrate Forge's castle, where they can steal all of his riches, get his daughter back, and flee to freedom. And I think that's the most concise plot synopsis I can give here because, like any Dungeons and Dragons campaign, there is a lot to the story, and there are a lot of different aspects that the group, or that the campaign needs to go on to achieve, or to get this thing, to unlock this thing, because we need that thing to defeat this thing so that we can defeat that thing. It's one of the best aspects about this movie. It does feel like you are actually playing a campaign in Dungeons and Dragons, which I've only done once before, and it was a lot of fun. It was an undergrad. All of us had great characters. It was a great little story. I tried starting a couple of years ago, but the Dungeon Master was frickin' god awful. Like, we spent 3-4 hours just developing and figuring out our characters, and then it took like another 4 hours just to get to a mission because everyone was fucking around. And then when we get to the final battle, she's like, okay, what weapon do you have? And I was like, you never told me to create a weapon or assign a weapon to my character when we were creating characters. And then she was like, well, then you can't be part of this battle. And I was like, fuck you, bitch! What? I just spent 8 hours creating this fucking thing, and now you're telling me I can't fight? I am done! Needless to say, I've never attempted to play Dungeons and Dragons again, but I do have a little beautiful dice set that is just collecting dust in my drawer. So seeing this movie, it definitely rekindled my love for Dungeons and Dragons, and just the idea of going on an imaginative story with a bunch of friends, going on a quest, and solving puzzles, and defeating elves, and dwarves, and dragons. D&D can be a ton of fun, and I love its resurgence over the last several years, especially with Stranger Things coming out. And when they announced this film, it did spark memories of the Dungeons and Dragons film from the 90s that I don't think I've watched all the way through, but I've seen parts of it because it's just so bad. This one is pure delight. It is so much fun. Is it reinventing the wheel? Is it anything groundbreaking when it comes to a fantasy action-adventure film? No! Absolutely not. We've seen a lot of these characters, we've seen a lot of these scenes play out the exact same way before in other films. But you have this group of characters led by Chris Pine, who is just so goddamn charming. Like, is it possible for this guy to not be charming? I don't think it is. He is gorgeous to look at. His delivery is always spot on. I love this actor. He is by far the best Chris that is out there in Hollywood. And even Michelle Rodriguez, who always plays that rough and tumble, character, I'm in the army, or I'm just a badass and I laugh in the face of danger type character, which is exactly what she does here. But even so, like, she's fun. Like, I enjoyed her too. There are some hilarious moments that she has where she actually kind of becomes vulnerable and becomes a little soft of a character at points. And I'm not going to spoil what those are because that was just a hilarious surprise. But even Michelle Rodriguez, to me, who I have not liked really in anything, I actually found enjoyable. You can tell this film was written and shot and just made by a whole bunch of people that love D&D and understand the intricacies of creating a group, creating a campaign, and sending that group along their way on this journey. This isn't like a studio saying, hey, Dungeons and Dragons was in Stranger Things, and Stranger Things was really hot, so we need to make a Dungeons and Dragons movie to capitalize on all the popularity. So let's make one of those movies. No, this was actually made by people that love playing D&D, because the conversations that are had with these characters and the situations that they're in, it felt like to me like this was a campaign that was actually being played by people in the real world, like you and me, sitting at the dinner table with a bunch of friends, and then this movie is actually like the campaign that they're going on. Like, they look over at Justice Smith, who plays the mage in this group, and they're like, hey, here, hold this, or here, solve that with magic. I've totally heard that said before. Everyone looks to their mage in their group and says, hey, heal me, or hey, teleport us there, you have magic. And he's like, no, 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 magic doesn't work like that. You have to earn it. There's a vibration that you need to sync to. This just felt like a legit live-action campaign, just with CGI, and it's great. It's so much fun. Hell, even the CGI actually looks pretty dang good when we got the fat dragon in the hellscape area with all of the fire and lava and bridges going out. He was an adorable little dragon. And Sophia Lilly plays the shapeshifter. I don't know the type of characters. I don't know any of like the actual characters from like Dungeons and Dragons, what species are, so I'm just going to call her the shapeshifter. Please go easy on me. But her CGI looked really great with her shifting in between animals and different creatures throughout. There are long takes where we see her character go from like a dungeon up into a tower and then into a peasant little hut, and her character just constantly switching between beasts and characters. It was actually really cool. You can tell it was all done with CGI, but I think the sequence was actually still very impressive. And REGE-JEAN Page kind of shows up here for like 5 minutes, just being this regal, gorgeous person who comes in and fixes everything. I think even he was great. Is this what he left Bridgerton for, this movie? Because I don't think this movie is getting like a whole franchise. It'd be cool if it did, but I don't know if it's going to. So he had like a sure thing with Netflix, but came over here and did Dungeons and Dragons? Really? Really? And it's funny, whenever he came on screen, in the back of my mind, I'm just yelling Bridgerton, Bridgerton, because now that's the code that me and my wife use whenever, like, we're watching Bridgerton, or whenever we're, like, in the mood, we start saying Bridgerton, and then we go. Or if there's a sex scene in a TV show or a movie, we yell Bridgerton, and then it happens. Does the movie feel, like, a little convoluted and overstuffed with different missions and different plots? Yes, but that's... Again, that's a D&D campaign. You have to go and unlock this thing to get that helmet so that you can do this thing, so that you can go over here and defeat that guy, so that you can get all the riches with the big final boss dude. In any other action film, especially for like a first entry in a franchise, that could be a little too much, but again, it's all saved with the great charm of these actors and our lead roles, in particular, Chris Pine. Beautiful human moments. He's on a ship and you can tell like they can sail to freedom, but something bad is happening behind and you can see the inner dilemma and you just go like, well, shit, and then he turns the boat around. I mean, it's little moments like that that makes him so freaking great. I had a ton of fun with this movie. Is it perfect? No. Is it the greatest thing ever? No. But again, it's just so much fun, and I will highly recommend you at least check it out and bring your family, bring your friends, bring your kids, and just have a great time, because that's all you get with this movie, just a great time. I'm gonna give Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves 3.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I am above average.
So guys, have you seen Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you all the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.